For the past 2 months, essential workers have been standing up across the country to demand personal protective equipment and other action from their employers to protect themselves against infection of coronavirus. This strike wave is a response to the grotesque neglect from big corporations who care more about saving their bottom line than they do the lives of the workers who generate it. The scale of this wave hasn't been seen in decades. Over 1,000 collective actions nationwide have occurred since the beginning of March. And these are just some of the examples. These are just the ones that make it to the media. Some organizers are not seeking media attention to avoid retaliation. Many of the actions are taking place in unorganized workplaces and are therefore going unrecorded. But all this really speaks to the growing consciousness amongst workers in response to the dangerous conditions that they're being forced to endure. Much of the activity is centered in Chicago, New York, New Jersey, the Northeast, in Los Angeles and San Francisco. I want to highlight just a few instances across various industries where workers have begun to fight back. The first example I want to go to is poultry workers. In late March, workers at food processing plants in Illinois, Virginia, Colorado, Georgia walked out to protest unsafe work conditions. And on March 23rd, workers at Purdue Farms in Georgia walked out after being told by management to work more hours without a pay increase. They also walked out for increased worker protection after several workers at the plant tested positive. These workers want a promise to daily workplace sanitation, an increase in cleaning protocols, and more sick time, which is up to like 4 weeks, and for the workers who contract the virus so that they can stay home and quarantine themselves with pay. Another sector that I want to go to that has been organizing is the gig workers or the couriers. On March 30th, Amazon warehouse workers in Staten Island, New York, and Instacart grocery delivery workers nationwide walked off their jobs, demanding more PPE and pay as they continue to work. Other Amazon actions took place in Detroit and Chicago. As a product of this struggle, Instacart says it will begin distributing hand sanitizers to its workers. Fast food workers have also been organizing for protection. Fast food workers, delivery people, warehouse workers, and other food service workers have also organized protests across the country, demanding PPE, hazard pay, sick pay, and further action from their employers. At least 30 supermarket employees have died as a result of coronavirus. Another 3,000 have called out of work after showing signs of coronavirus-related illnesses. Thousands have protested, taken off, organized sick outs to press the companies to institute better safety procedures. On April 9th, 30 fast food workers walked out in California. The strike has also spread to some of the country's most well-known food giants. Factory workers, too, have been protesting. General Electric workers in New York, Dallas, Texas, Massachusetts, and Virginia have staged protests to demand that the company refit the plants to make desperately needed ventilators and other medical equipment. GE has responded with layoffs and is threatening to furlough a large part of its workforce. We salute these workers as they continue their struggle. Another sector that has been organizing is the transit sector. Recently, bus drivers in Detroit struck and won all of their demands, and fares will not be collected for the duration of the coronavirus crisis. These actions are just a few, but they really represent a glimpse of countless workers across the nation who are no longer tolerating being subject to essential worker mandates with disposable worker treatment. They highlight the vast willingness for so many sectors of our class to stand up against their employers and demand what they should already have as a right. And they highlight what is possible when we organize. This crisis delivered by the coronavirus pandemic is exposing the billionaire bosses who have no interest in providing that for which some could be the difference between life and death. It demonstrates that they will not provide what workers need to prevent infection on the job unless we fight for it. The relentless profit motive of the capitalist class and the desperate need of the working class to work in healthy conditions do not mesh. We are the ones who do all the work. We are the ones who make society run. The capitalists, particularly during this crisis, are making our lives very difficult. We do not need them. They are in the way. Surely as these workers continue to struggle, more victories will follow, and hopefully what also follows is more urgency behind the need for working people to take control of society and seize power from the hands of those who are incapable of making decisions in the interest of the majority.